the first session today is on a real-world data journey with Amy's Kitchen. So as Alexa said, my name is Mike Sims. I'm the Practice Director for Data and Analytics at Columbus Global. My information is right there. Contact me on LinkedIn. My email address is there as well. Amy's Kitchen is a family-owned, privately held company, and they manufacture organic and non-GMO convenience and frozen foods. They do have several manufacturing locations. California, Oregon, and Idaho are current, and they have a new plant that's being built in New York. A little bit of background about our engagement with them. Amy's in Columbus has had several D365 functional engagements. This has been going on for some time, and they've been anything from blueprinting to getting involved with some of the analytics. We were introduced actually to demo Power BI. At the time, they were utilizing OBIEE, and they're actually currently using that. That's the Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. And they had a person on staff that was very, very good at Oracle. Their core ERP is Oracle, and they started integrating pieces of D365 alongside that Oracle implementation. A lot of blueprint sessions were brought in order to see what worked for Amy's and what worked with Oracle and how to get those two to work together. And there was some time there where Amy's was kind of doing some internal, I guess you could call it reckoning as to what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go directionally. And so they kind of fell off of our radar a little bit, at least from the data and analytics team. But then they re-engaged us in the third quarter of 2019, and they re-engaged us to do a supply chain executive dashboard proof of concept. And they were very targeted and very specific on this, and part of the reason was they needed to convince their C-level executives that they would get the information that they needed out of all of the systems, and they could do that by using Power BI. So some challenges that they were encountering. The data is basically in different systems. It was very difficult for them to see a complete business, a complete picture of their business. They have multiple data sources. What they were wanting to do was move to a cloud system, and they knew that they could not do that quickly. They wanted to take some steps, and they wanted to move the business along with those steps. And they wanted different roles in order to define the different areas and the different data that was required. So the right data for the right users at the right time. They focused on supply chain because that was their biggest opportunity for costing for a variety of other initiatives, which I will highlight a little bit later here. So digital transformation is something that gets thrown out a lot. And every industry is undergoing some type of fundamental transformation. In the future, all companies will be digital companies, not only building products, but services to capture new business opportunities and engage with customers differently to meet their evolving expectations. To disrupt and innovate, organizations must take on a strategy that connects their customers, employees, products, and operations as effectively as possible. Streamlining their businesses so that customers have an ideal experience, employees are empowered to do their best, operations can ensure effectiveness and efficiency across the business, and that the best products and services are being developed and delivered. Organizations have focused on these four core areas for a long time. Digital transformation is happening across those four areas. But if you ask people what is digital transformation, you will get different answers. So Microsoft created this framework called the digital feedback loop to highlight how digital transformation is enabled. At the center is data. Data is coming out of everything. Every single product at this point is being wired up with telemetry and the ability to collect data. Every motor that's manufactured at this point is emitting telemetry. Every time I browse the web, there's telemetry being created. And so this torrent of information allows us to better understand our customers, our operations, and the use of our products and services to fuel this transformation, which then allows us to mine for intelligence, predict what customers may need, and understand a piece of equipment when it is on its way to a challenging spot or failure before it gets there. Taking all of this information, these predictions, and then feeding them back into your business processes, this is where the change is occurring. The digital feedback loop concept, the digital feedback loop across your business core processes is ultimately what enables the transformation. It allows you to change your business, to change your processes, and ultimately to transform your industry. Amy's really adopted this digital feedback loop. They realized that data was at their core, but they also realized that they needed to define their KPIs, and the reason is going to be pretty apparent here. What digital transformation is really dependent on adoption, and we're really, really good as businesses and consulting firms at deployment and activation. What is usually poorly achieved or not done, and is very, very difficult to do, is to adopt and become proficient in these things. And a lot of the adoption is to get people to use the solution on a regular basis. So we need to make it simple for them. And I don't mean, completely simplified to the point of abstraction. I mean, it needs to give them the information that they need relatively quickly and be accurate 100% of the time. So the data journey is the tool that we had been using kind of behind the scenes to drive this conversation. So the way you read this chart is you start at the bottom left and you read to the upper right-hand corner, and you use that scale there from standard reporting, ad hoc reporting, and so forth, all the way up to optimization to determine where you think your business is currently on this data journey. Now with Amy's is using pretty much standard reporting. Even though they have OBIEE, it's just not the tool that they need or that they want to continue to utilize. That's a technology that, that they just haven't embraced the technology as much as they're starting to embrace Power BI. They are in the standard reporting stage, maybe to the ad hoc stage, and we're going to get them to, with this project, is up to the statistical analysis phase. So we'll be able to start talking about why is this happening here once we implement phase 3, which is going to get them down to the granular level. The other thing that you'll notice on here is that it's horizontally divided. So traditional reports, business insights, reports, and dashboards are in the lighter blue at the bottom of that horizontal divide. That's standard reporting, ad hoc reports, query and drill down, and alerts. In the advanced analytics phase and data science, that gets us into some more things like statistical analysis, forecasting, predictive, and optimization. And those require some other tools, perhaps. Now, Power BI can surface the data, but we might need to utilize other things such as machine learning or get into some tools such as Synapse and so forth and so on. Our services over here on the right, this vertical stack, very high level, and I'm going to show you on the next slide here some more details about what's underneath each of those blocks. But you can see Columbus does all data management, so anything from standard DBA work up to performance tuning, anything in between, data migration, data archiving. We also work with Business Value Consulting, which we're doing a lot with Amy's on. And as a matter of fact, Matt Bowes, who's my manager, he's going to be talking a little bit later. He was actually instrumental, in my opinion, in getting us into Amy's because of the work that he did with Business Value Consulting with blueprinting. But we've also continued that Business Value Consulting with this analytics opportunity. We're obviously implementing the advanced analytics. We also work with corporate performance management tools, industry-specific analytics, and basically any type of analytics and reporting that you want done, we can manage it.